Are you listening to that? No? Be quiet then. It sounds like there's something out there. Anyway, let me tell you a story. But hey, it's not one of those silly scare stories. It's one of those that you hear and start checking if you locked the car properly. Have you ever heard of the Hookman? No? Man. He's like an urban legend, but one of those that you swear could happen. It was supposed to be just a couple in the car, a radio playing softly, romance in the air, until fear knocked on the door. Literally. With a hook. And if you're brave, I'll tell you everything. But don't say I didn't warn you. It was one of those nights that are always wrong, you know? A moonless sky, a strange silence in the air, and the kind of cold that makes even your thoughts shiver. Sarah and Mike, two teenagers at the height of stupidity, decided to go out in the car for a quiet stroll. But they didn't go to a diner, or to the movies, or to anyone's house. They went to the middle of nowhere. One of those places where there are only trees, crickets, and bad decisions. They parked the car in an open space, on top of a hill. They said that from there you could see the city lit up down below. But only if you took your eyes off your own fear, right? Inside the car, they were in that mood, flirting, giggles, and the classic bad romantic song playing on the radio. Everything was going well, until the music cut off. We interrupt our programming for an urgent bulletin. The voice on the radio was the kind that gives you chills just by existing. A dangerous patient has escaped from Ridgeway Psychiatric Hospital. The man is considered extremely dangerous, and he has a hook for a hand. Silence. Sarah froze. Mike laughed, because there's always a funny guy at the beginning of a tragedy. Oh, it must be some kind of scare story. Like a camping trip, he said. Sarah wasn't buying it. She said she didn't want to stay there anymore. That it was better for them to leave. Mike huffed, complained, put on a tough guy act, but then he started the car. That's when the mood changed. Outside, in the middle of the dark forest, something seemed to be waiting. So, Mike starts the car. The engine sputters once, twice, because of course cars in horror stories never start right away. Sarah is there, holding her own arm as if that would protect her from a crazy guy with a hook. And then, in the middle of this tense silence, they hear it. A sound of metal scraping against something. Slowly. As if someone were running a hook, well, along the side of the car. Sarah's eyes widen. Mike holds his breath. She whispers, "Did you hear that?" Mike tries to keep his composure. It must have been a branch. A branch. In the middle of an open field. Brilliant. He turns on the high beams. Nothing. Just that dark, heavy void, as if the whole world had held its breath. And then there's another sound. Something falls onto the roof of the car. Or jumps. Or comes down. Mike grabs the door handle. He wants to get out and see. Sarah says, "You're not going to get out. For the love of God, Mike, don't do that. That's how people die in movies." But Mike, like any good idiot in a horror story, goes anyway. He opens the door, takes a quick peek, then walks slowly around the car. Nothing. Just the cold wind. The trees in the distance. And a silence that screams. He takes a deep breath, gives a half smile like see it was paranoia, and gets back in the car. When he gets in, Sarah has her eyes glued to the rearview mirror. "I think I saw something back there." Mike starts the car, steps on the accelerator, and they speed down the road. But now, the fear was already with them inside the car. They could no longer pretend it was just a legend. They just didn't know yet how right they were. So, after all that scare, Mike and Sarah sped off down the dirt road. The car's wheels bounced on the rocks, the headlights shook, and the radio just made a hissing noise. They didn't even have the courage to turn on music anymore. Just the sound of the engine, the pounding heart, and that icy fear that seems to sit in the back seat and stare at you in the rearview mirror. Sarah didn't say anything. She just stared out the window, as if at any moment she might see something in the field. Mike on the outside tried to stay calm, On the inside, he was already regretting everything: the trip, the flirting, his existence. They finally arrived at her house. Mike parked slowly, still trying to be funny, like, "See? We're alive. Everything's fine. It was just your imagination." Sarah got out of the car in silence. She walked to the door of the house. Then she stopped. She froze. She looked back. And screamed. Mike jumped out of the car. He ran to her. And then he saw what she saw. Stuck in the passenger door handle. There it was. A hook. Made of iron. Rusty. And bloody. There was no way to explain it. There was no way to make up an excuse. The thing, the person, was there. He leaned against the car. He tried to open the door. Maybe he had been watching them the whole time, just waiting for an opening. And the worst part? The hook was left there. Like a message. Or like a promise that he would come back. After that, Sarah never went out alone again. Mike sold the car the next day. And they say that, to this day, if you stop in an isolated place with someone, and stay in silence for too long, you can hear the sound of metal scraping. So that's today's video. If you liked it, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. See you in the next story.